Hey, I'm Kim.
And I'm Pancho, and you're listening to Now That You See It, a show that will ruin you for boring conversations forever.
It's about the invisible stuff that shapes how we think and connect, those, oh, wait, what? Moments that change how you perceive the world around you.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Hey, friends. Oh, this is
Oh,
a good one. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so we've got a guest episode tonight with my friend Kish Lenus, who's joining us. Two Rhode Islanders, the smallest state in the nation, joining us on the podcast. Um, and I just want to welcome you, Kish, and I'm excited for our topic today. But I want to just take a moment to let you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and what you can't unsee.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Pancho, for having me. My name is full name of Kish, but you call me Kish. Kish Lenus. I'm the senior manager of ecosystem engagement and partnerships at Social Enterprise Greenhouse. It's a nonprofit, and I'm also the founder of a talent man agency called Love Trust Loyalty (LTL). I was born on the beautiful island of Saint Martin. Then
Oh, no
I
shit. I didn't know that.
yeah, and then
Cool.
I moved to Providence when I was younger. And then since finishing middle school in Providence, I've been back and forth ever since from Rhode Island and St. Martin. And then I stayed put back in Rhode Island in 2017. Um, and something that I've seen and I can't unsee anymore is the reality of how the world actually kind of works or how systems work, kind of like the unspoken truth that nobody talks about. And like you kind of have to bump your head on the road and all of that to figure it out yourself. So that's something I definitely can't unsee.
Yeah. Oh, and the the pre-show, warming up a little bit for this and just getting to know each other and the topic a little bit. What stood out to me that I want to ask you a little bit more about is something that we all share, not just folks here, but like humanity. Of wait a minute, I'm a good person, doing the right thing, following the rules, being responsible. Why am I not getting ahead? Why am I not getting rewarded and seen for it? Why are other people who I see not doing those things getting rewards, ahead, attention, confidence, awards? What's wrong with this picture? Why are they not? Why am I not there?
Right.
Kish, can you tell us a little bit about some times when you first noticed this pattern and what it felt like to notice it?
Definitely. I felt like when I went to college, right? And it's like you follow the rules. It's like like you go to school, go to college, you're going to get a good job. You apply for internships and all that, and everything should just pan out. Right. And I think that's when like the first of that reality came to me. Oh, like this is not what it is. It's like you've been sold a beautiful
Mm,
dream, right? So it was up just applying for work, um, whether in school, which zilch opportunities, and then after as well, which kind of forced us to like start our own thing, which was what I'll tell and get into the music stuff. But that was like the first reality.
follow-up question. Where do you think you learned the value, the message, the ethos that, like, if I do these things, I'm going to get those things?
I think it starts like from way back when from being a child, right? Or it's like n- not even to try to shift blame on like parents and the people around you. Maybe it's more so like my interpretation of what I thought of like if you do these things, you get this. Like even my faith, right? I'm a
Hmm.
Christian, so a lot of the things is like you follow this rule, you follow this rule, and you get this blessing. But and in a lot of like times I'm assuming it's either I misinterpreted what I was reading or understanding or taking it into a literal sense, right? Or I still haven't got my blessings yet.
mm, yeah, yeah. This is uh, this is really pervasive. I in my coaching work, a big part of the coaching I do is with people on career design,
Mm,
and I work with people who followed that rule book, that playbook. It starts, like you said, as a young kid, you're told if you do your homework and you get the answers right, you get A's. And if you keep doing that all the way through
Right.
college, you succeed, right? But like in the real world, I mean, it's all real world, but once you leave the academic system, getting the answers right doesn't necessarily mean you get A's and succeed. There are other dynamics at work. And then the tricky thing is, which is part of this, and I'm curious, how it resonates with you. Even if you do get your A's beyond the world of academia, even if you get the six-figure job and you get the white picket fence and you have, like 2 cars, 2.5 kids, like the standard American dream that Kim talks about. Even if you get there, oftentimes you get there and you look around and you go, this sucks. This is
Right.
like, I'm so miserable. Right. So I think a lot of people don't see that until they get there, like you said, like until you actually start to realize, wait, this formula isn't working for me. Um, I'm curious to learn more for you what that process has been like of leaving college and maybe some of those instances along the way where you started to realize, oh, there's a different system here. There are rules that nobody told me about how this whole thing works and how that's affected the direction you've taken.
Yeah. So I think, to be honest, I've had like a rebellion spirit to this like whole thing, right? And instead of saying, okay, these are the rules, I'm just gonna kind of try to figure out how to play within the system. It was just like, you know, for better words, fuck the system. I'll make my own rule, right? So I think that's why right out, like when I figured I couldn't get anything, I just started my own thing. I was like, okay, I'm gonna work with these artists and I'm gonna try to get them as much gigs, bookings as I can. Um, I'll start a merch line within this brand and try to sell and move things and, try to build a community around that. And I think I was such on like a rebellion path, and like it caused me because everything that before I was just listening. So I was just following instructions. So I think I got to a point where I'm like, I don't need your instructions. I'll follow my own instructions. I'll figure this out on my own. And I think although that could have been beneficial, it also probably, because we never know, but kind of held me back from leaping years forward, because if I was kind of receptive and figured out like, okay, there's a way to get the balance that I want, I could be rebellious, but still work within the system and take information and see how the game's played and flip it out. I just completely took no information and went more so hustle mode and did things my way. And I feel like not to say, because I don't feel like I have any regrets, but it's more so like, could the path have been smoother to get where I am now if I wasn't so rebellious, if that makes any sense.
When you think back to a moment of rebellion where you could have done something differently and had things gone more smoothly, what's an example of that?
I think it would be more so the person who kind of like put me in the game, I would say, with like these entertainers. He was more so, and that's like the irony of it. He was more so the person guiding me and telling me, this is how it works. This is how you should play it. You know, this is how, like, once again, this world works. I know how this world works. But once again, I've already, even though this was good information, I was already kind of to a point where I'm like, I've seen what listening to everyone else gets. So I'm like, regardless, you're saying this because you're trying to hold me back. And once again, it's more so like the lens I feel like I was viewing it was more so of kind of a resentful lens and like an anger lens, saying like, I played the rules how the system wanted me to. It's like as soon as I finish this whole 4 years, I should be handed a degree. I mean, a job, walked in right away. That's how it should have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's how I viewed it. But like once again, even looking back, it's like that was so like a childish mentality.
Mm. It's interesting, Kish, when I hear you say, I did the thing, I sacrificed, I put in my time, I worked my butt off, I followed the rules, and I didn't get the thing at the end that I thought I would get, that I was promised, even if it wasn't explicit. Like, this is the game we were playing, right? What I hear is I didn't do something I wanted to do so that I could do this other thing.
Man, wow,
What
that's the
didn't you
truth.
do? Yeah. What didn't you get to do? What were the wants that you didn't get to live out because you did
Wow,
the
that
right
was
thing?
good. I feel like even this, not saying it was like forced upon me, but even the decision to go to school, meaning like my mindset has always been like, okay, like I'm a person like let's just jump in, and that's how I kind of learn best. So it's like I didn't see like the point of going through school. It like made no sense to me, right? I'm like, let's figure out a way. And like I said, this is like once again my probably like rebellious for we're gonna spend 80K on school. Let's figure a way to get 80K and like open something up that like we could do it on our own rather than go through the 4 years. Like you spend the 80K, the entry level. It's like I'm not getting 80K just jumping out for the degree I went to. I mean, the degree I went through when I first started, which was gonna be like hospitality and move back to the islands and become a hotel manager and live that life and so that's what it was. It was just like to do my own thing.
But I think that's sort of what I'm interested in is like the the quiche kid who was told, like, if you follow the rules. Did you grow up Christian?
I did
Yeah. A lot of rules.
a
I
lot of
grew up
rules.
Catholic. A lot of rules. But,
I mean, I went to Baptist school for, a
yeah.
good chunk of, yeah, a lot of rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of rules. And there's a lot of if then thinking. If I do this, then I get this. If
Correct.
I do this, then I get this. And that usually works out there's that, like, in terms of you really do get some reward for putting something in for a while. When you're a kid, you get like your parents' love if you behave well. You get, I don't know, the cookie at the end of mass if you like chill out for a while, if you're quiet. But then all of a sudden you enter the adult world and like the rewards don't connect to the if thens. They connect to like some other formula that is hidden to you. And what I'm noticing is that you lived a life of following the rules tightly for a long time.
With the
And then you have this mysterious rebellious streak. And I would argue that it's very much not mysterious, that those two things are connected. That you followed those rules for so long. And then we're like, fuck this.
Yeah, no more rules.
Nope. From anybody. Even what I'm hearing is I don't even want to follow the rules of the rule breaker because this guy has rules. I don't even
Yep.
want those rules.
And it's like
And yeah, go ahead.
the people you see setting the rules realize they weren't kind of even following the rules. So it was just something that they were putting a limit on you. So it's like, so these rules only apply to us. You're not even following your own rules.
Yeah. When did you figure that out? What was the point at which you realized that was
Mm,
happening?
I've, I, it's like so many instances. This is not like even pertaining like just to, how do I say this? Like to school. This is like in every day of kind of how like we were, how do I put this? Like if you did something like, right, like you broke a law or something, right? I realized there's like better treatment for certain individuals than there are for others, or people get off easier than you get off, or that's like even like I said, an extreme route. But more so like church, the like pastor pimping the, I know that sounds extreme, but pimping the congregation and like taking away, kind of like leeching off them. But when the congregation needs assistance, there's no way to be found. And they're like investing in this church, or like there's no kickback to the community or anything. So I think it's like, even like, just even you speaking of it right now, it's kind of like bringing it back, like why like this still is something that still could like, that sparks something in me. It's like, not saying like everything should be fair, but it's like you see how people prey on people who don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so getting wise is getting safe because you can protect yourself. Getting that wall of like, I won't listen to you, the rebellion is safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until like you chip at the wall. And then I know like, okay, this is probably like a safe place.
Yeah. The thing that came to mind for me as you were talking was how police officers often break the law.
Right.
Their job is, like seeing a police officer driving 100 miles an hour on the freeway recklessly without their sirens on. So they're not in a hurry to get to an emergency. They just want to go faster than everybody else.
Right.
And there are no repercussions for that, right? And that's a system in which certain people are imposing rules on everybody else, yet they don't follow those rules themselves. And the thing that came to mind, we talked about it a little bit just as we were getting to know each other before we started recording, are the things that we feel entitled to
Right.
in our lives that we're actually not entitled to. So we've talked about, on previous episodes, how we generally go about our lives with this entitlement to safety. I should feel safe. I am entitled to feeling safe in my life. And that is an amazing ideal. And ideally, you should. But the
Right.
reality is, you don't live in a world that's actually safe. And it never has been for the entirety of humanity being humans walking on the planet.
That is so.
There are always dangers and random chaotic things that will come around and kill you. And we live in a society that controls for those in a way that we've never done before. So it almost creates more of a sense of entitlement to safety. And so another sense of entitlement that we have, especially in the society we live in today, and I think coming back to church, I think it's a result of the Puritan work ethic, which kind of goes hand in hand with the American dream, is if you are good and you work hard enough, you live in a fair world and you will get what you fairly deserve as a result of being good and working hard. And we don't live in a fair world.
Nah, we
You
don't.
look around, the evidence is we don't live in a fair world. That's not what you should feel entitled to if you want your expectations to match the world we live in. So I'm curious for you, in thinking about having to
But even,
come to grips. Oh, go ahead.
but sorry, even to the point of, we were going back to the police officers, because I
Sure.
don't even want to, go in on the police officers, because let's go even to like a higher level. For instance, right, there's so many people that I personally know that like got locked up for selling weed. And now these big corporations are profiting off of weed. So it's like,
Yeah,
you see, it's like,
Yep.
this is like,
totally.
so that I'm like, and sometimes it's like, how far could we get away with it? Like, we're like throwing it in your face. Like, we just did this, and look, you suffered for this, but guess what? We're going to make millions off of this.
Yeah.
You had a question,
Yeah.
Pancho,
Yeah. Pancho, my bad.
but
No, that was
there,
an amazing example. Yeah, I think,
yeah.
like police officers was the first thing that came to mind. And yeah, like happens across the board in a variety of situations. Um, and something you said actually earlier as we were talking is like, it may not even be a matter of morality, of who's right and wrong, right? It may not be a matter of, because these weed corporations are now profiting, and people 20 years ago who were selling weed are stuck in jail with lifetime sentences, it's not that that makes the weed corporations evil. Part of it is, in that example, is it's just a time and place thing, right? 20 years ago, it wasn't legal to start a weed selling company. So people did it as individuals under the radar, often related with organized crime. The people who decided to sell weed at that point in time ended up with one kind of outcome. And then the people who are now doing it today have a completely different outcome. It doesn't mean that somebody who starts, like a weed gummy company today is evil, because they're getting away with it and people 20 years ago didn't get away with it. But it's a perfect example of how, well, like, should those people who are in jail for it not have their sentence commuted? Like, should those people not get to walk out of jail now because the thing they did that was once wrong is now totally socially acceptable? How do we go back and fix that? And it, in a sense, isn't fair that we're not fixing that.
Yeah, that's even, and that whole point right there, and it makes you think, right? Even 20 years ago, you're right, but that was a rule. So then
Yeah,
it's like,
that was a rule.
who says your rule is correct,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
you just impose that on us, and there's like people suffering from it because of a rule you made.
I am having a hard time staying calm in this conversation.
Let's hear it.
I really am. Because I can't not point out that we've just brought up some of the most charged topics in terms of racially divided outcomes for people with deep, deep, deep historical roots of power, rules based on yeah, of course you followed rules closely. You are read as a Black man in America. Your life could be in danger far more than mine could if you don't follow the rules, but I do.
Right.
So and you were raised for a little while, born in St. Martin, and had, I'm assuming, a community of folks around you who were also following similar rules. But St. Martin is a former colony. Still is? Dutch?
No, it's still under Dutch rule, but we have our independence, quote unquote.
Independent But a history of colonialism, that doesn't just turn off. That doesn't turn off in terms of white people made the rules, and under penalty of a lot of bad things, you follow them. Intergenerationally, now, Pancho, I'm thinking about some of the stuff that we talked about on our intergenerational trauma podcast with Judy about the legacy of generations that passed, what gets passed down to you. And so coming in and being given a lesson of you must follow these rules, not necessarily saying why, but just how important that is, because you need to, both for safety, but also for being able to get ahead.
Right.
And every example we've used, police officers, weed. Why are some folks in jail and some folks have a lot of money for selling weed? Literally the opposite outcomes. Academics, grades. I mean, I guess the question is, how does your experience of being read as a Black man in the United States and in St. Martin and wherever the world you've been, how does your racial identity, your racial history, and your legacy impact how you perceive the world as fair or not, and just your experience in the world here?
That's a great question. So the that's so tough, because in St. Martin, there's not
Yeah.
and I would say this in the Caribbean in general. Well, I don't want to speak for everybody in general. Let me not do that. But my experience in the Caribbean is I don't think racism plays is a
It's
a
different
heavy,
than the
yeah,
States.
in the
Yep.
States, right? I
Yep.
feel and I don't mean to I feel in the States there's so much, there's there's still so much. Oh man, I don't want this to come out the wrong way, but it's there's still a lot of unhealed wounds, things that weren't discussed, and it's being kind of thrown on it, and then something happens and it erupts again. Whereas in the Caribbean, I feel like not, I don't want to say everything's healed, but I think we've, there's been more of like a thing. I don't even want to say it like that. I don't want to say like moving forward, but because I'm not saying the States was like African Americans, and we're gonna say Caribbean, Black Caribbeans and Black Americans, and that's how I'll do it. Um, I'm not saying they're not moving forward. It's just like there's just a different system, operating system that works within the
Sure.
Caribbean and in America, and more like even kind of like to that point where like let's even like more than even the race, I would say like the classism, right? So, for
Yeah.
instance,
In the
if
Caribbean.
yep, and in the States as well, right? Like I realized that simple things as more so of like the way you were raised. So two examples like your mom, she works all day, right? And she can help you with your homework. Now you fall behind on your homework. And when you ask for help for your homework, I mean, no, but she sees your grades, she's like, you got to study harder, just focus. She kind of doesn't have the tools either to help you get those grades, or doesn't even understand the resources on how to assist. She loves you, but she doesn't really, it's a limiting thing that
Yeah.
she could do. So her best way of loving you is saying focus more. You're seeing it as like, dang, I'm trying, I am focusing, but I'm really just not able to do it. So, and
It's
I'm
not
still
working.
feeling, yeah. So now your perception of yourself is, I must be slow or dumb, right? So now that's like the path that the self identity that you have on yourself. And this is like how you're gonna approach getting a job, how you're gonna approach finding a mate, finding friendships, because now everything in that circle is just to comfort you what you're going through, right? And finding similar people. And then you have another household, white or black, right? But their parents kind of have a stable job, not stable job, a career forward job, right? So they're there after dinner to ask you, hey, how can I help with I mean, you're falling behind with your homework, and how can I help you? So even I'm realizing like even the act of asking how can I help prompts like, okay, like there's an option to things. Like I have an opinion that might be like, validated and is going to be worked through. So now they're helping you
Yeah.
work through the answer, right? Now that's like a different type of confidence. Now you feel the ability that I could speak up when I'm in school. Even if I feel something, I could figure it out because I've done this when I was younger. So the trajectory of those two persons widely different.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like one starts to build a worldview of I'm dumb or the world is a place where I don't get help. And the other one starts to build a worldview of even if I don't know how to do this, I can get the help and support I need to figure it out. And in the end, I live in a world where I will still be successful.
Correct.
Yeah.
And this is like, man, I don't want to, like I said, I don't like just casting a net over everybody, but this is like the kind of reality of people who are kind of um you know like I don't want to just say color because I feel like there could be poor blacks, poor whites, poor Hispanics. So and
Yeah.
classism. So anyone
Yeah.
in the kind of lower income, and then you get or in the hood, and you get that identity matched for life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So and so sorry. So to bring it back to where I was, my parents, both hardworking, very hardworking, came from Haiti, moved to St. Martin for a better life,
Okay.
then even took a bigger risk, came to Rhode Island, right?
Amazing.
So now you're you know no English, you're learning, you're out of your environment, you're cold because you're just used to
Yeah.
warm weather. You're learning how to drive.
Sure.
So this is
Came
what
from the
like
friggin'
so I'm
Caribbean
learning. So I'm
to
like,
Rhode Island.
so I'm like, I'm not even like because I can't cast blame on understanding this, right? you're out of your environment. You know, people might look at you funny. You're trying a new profession. You're trying to put these kids through school with what you know. The culture is completely different, right? Because you're coming from a place where everyone within your community, it's like you have 10 parents when you're in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
everyone's helping.
totally.
So you're getting support. Now you're like, you move, you really don't know where you're going, right? So you're going to, you know, this might sound crazy, but you're going to where, once again, feels comfortable to you. So you go assimilate yourself with other people that you know. And that sometimes might not be in the best part of the city that you should go to because this is all they know, right? So now the habit around that community is what you're being instructed by, and not to their fault of their own, because in that community, it's lack of resources, lack of, you know, people paying attention to them. But you're trying to make ends meet, so you're working night shifts, and
Yep.
you're not saying that you're not there, but your kids are like there to figure out the world on their own.
Yeah. And you were one of those kids.
Yeah, as soon as I started to get to, I would say like seventh, eighth grade is where I feel like it started to diminish because I was like always a straight A student. But then when you're around that environment, your environment is who you are. And like,
Uh,
even like the teachers would tell me too, they would say, like, I see you going on the wrong trajectory. Like you're hanging around with the wrong crowd now. Right. So that almost kind of like was a kind of almost fulfilling prophecy for myself until they pulled me back out and they said, you got to get to St. Martin. When I moved
Ah.
back.
So your parents saw you kind of starting to surround yourself, put yourself in an environment that was potentially going to lead to outcomes they didn't want for you, outcomes you as an adult, as the adult you are today, probably wouldn't want for yourself. And they said, we're
Correct.
going back to St. Martin. Huh,
And then
okay.
that changed the
And
trajectory.
cool. God, what a testament to like you are a product of your surroundings, you're a product of the people you associate with the most, and especially as a kid who doesn't get to choose where they live, how much money
Right.
their household makes. You are just kind of subject to being the outcome of whatever situation you find yourself in.
100%. And then like, you know, you could get blocked for so many opportunities just because you don't know these rules. So you're like, you're thinking like the world you're living in is the world. Like you're thinking this is everything, but this is like just a small piece of society. And, you know,
wow.
you might not even have like, not even like, you don't have the correct tools. There's like,
Okay, so knowing what you know now and seeing more of, okay, this is how things actually work. And I was living in a like a microcosm when I was in seventh and eighth grade. What are the things that you would go back and tell your seventh or eighth grade self as you were starting to, get lost in that environment? What would you today go back and tell that kid to try to help them have the tools or try to give them a wider, more complete perspective of the world?
I, that's a really good question. Definitely would say you have to surround yourself with the best people. The best people. Whatever it is, you figure out how you got to get around the best people. Like there's iron sharpens iron. So it's like if if you're okay, right, with and the people around you are okay with mediocrity, you will be okay with if everyone's okay with getting an F and we're just gonna go to the movies after to talk to these girls. That just becomes like that's the thing to do now. It's not surprising if the thing to do is to go to the corner store and just chill all day, build on no activities, you know, that is that's the norm. We're okay with that. So I would say always try to find the people reaching for the highest possibilities ever. Get around like the dreamers, the achievers, the people doing things, the kids, who are in like 10 piano classes, or like the kids who are busy. Get around that. And I'm not saying that because it's like, oh, those are kids who are obviously gonna do well, but it's more so like there's this saying like in the Caribbean, idle mind is the devil's playground. Meaning like if you're just doing nothing, like trouble will find you. So I think that's what it is. And more so like just look at like the different possibilities of what is achievable. Like it's not like to say you're from here, which means you can't do this. Like anything is possible. Like you could go in any range you want. Like if you're dedicated, not saying like what we were talking earlier, that because I put in this work, I'm going to get the outcome. But I also believe like, even if you don't get the outcome that you're looking for, whether it be like you're starting something and it didn't get to the 1 million subscribers or whatever it is. But I feel like during the process of who you become is like crazy, right? The grit you build, like the way
Oh
you're
my
able
God.
to talk to people, I feel like
Totally.
I'm always telling like the people around me, it's the journey. Like it's all about the journey, right? Because once like well, for me, I'm in Aries. Like once I get to this destination, it's like, what's next? Like, so you want to keep like living, right? And I feel like even that, I would tell that kid, like, there's no real, like, there's no like failure. You just got to continuously kind of reinvent, figure it out, try new things. All these things are options. Once again, following the rules. It's not a linear role. It's not like you got to do this, and then you're going to be with a white picket fence. That's a boring, like you said, that's a boring story anyways. I don't want to just be, you know,
Love
doing
that.
nothing. And like,
Yeah.
and then all like the people that I feel like they're enjoying life, they're trying new things, like starting things, like, even though as crazy as this may sound, and this might be controversial, we might not be big fans or whatever, but like Joe Biden running for president or Trump running for at their age, I'm like, they should be probably chilling at the crib or chilling at home, but they're like, let's try something new, let's run a country, right? I think like as as
Teach from
crazy,
teach.
yeah, but it's like they're trying,
Chilling at the crib.
yeah, they're trying, they're putting themselves out there, and you got to
Yeah, I get
respect
you.
it.
Yeah, in that sense, absolutely. Yeah, that makes something that you said that I think I really want to highlight, because this is before we started recording. We talked about um, two competing philosophies in how to succeed, or what success looks like. One was the framework of inputs, outputs, and outcomes, and how your input is how much work you put in, your output is what is the result of your work, but then the outcome is whether you are actually big picture successful in
Mm,
whatever that endeavor is, right? So I explained for this podcast, for example, the inputs is we're all showing up, we're here, we're recording. Outputs, we're going to have a podcast episode, we're going to publish it, and we're going to do our best to spread the word about it. The outcome is whether the episode gets listeners, whether it actually gets traction or not. And the philosophy behind inputs, outcomes, and inputs, outputs, and outcomes, I can't English, is that the outcomes are ultimately what's most important. It's the result of, whether you are actually successful in the endeavor, as opposed to just like, did you do a bunch of busy work and get a bunch of busy work outputs without actually successful outcomes. The other option is thinking in bets, Kim, and the idea that you focus on the process. And if you have a good process and you run that process, then the outcome isn't as important. And that's Annie Duke basically saying, yeah, you're not in control of the outcome. You're in control of your process. So optimize the process as much as possible. What I heard you say is the most important thing in either of those scenarios is just the person you become, regardless of your inputs, outputs, processes, outcomes. Like all of that stuff is almost secondary to just the fact that the life you've lived turns you into a different person.
Yeah. Like, excuse me if I'm wrong. I don't want to mess up my history, but I think it's like the Greeks. They're like soldiers, philosophers, then they're lawmakers at the end. It's like, that's a full life. Like, we got to live a full life. And it's like, you don't want to go and something happened to you. And it's like, I have regrets. Like, I didn't do this. Or I didn't reach my full potential. I didn't give it a stab at this. And I feel like that's kind of like not trying to be like a motivational speaker or anything, but I want people from my community to understand like it's like the world is like your oyster. It's like, or anyone I really come into contact with, it's like this happened, but we could figure it out, move forward, like very much so still fuck rules, but learn the rules and become like the master.
Yeah. Learn the rules so you can fuck the
Yeah.
rules.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
not like,
There's
it's
a
not like,
tagline.
yeah, not like quiche and forget the rules and like, well, I'm going to act like the rules don't exist. It's like, you got to learn it better than probably the rule makers.
That's a big one, Kish. Yes. I think that's true in so many areas of like it's almost yeah, it's not earning the right to fuck the rules. It's this is going to go so much better. You're going to get the outcomes you want if you really know the game that everybody's playing so that you can obfuscate
Well, I
and
like that.
jog
Yeah,
around and like make your own path.
correct.
Because not for nothing, but what I'm noticing about your story, and tell me if this resonates for you, is you spent a life following rules and then feeling rejection because that didn't work. At some point in your life, at college, it sounds like it was like crash up, didn't work. Feeling excluded, feeling on the outside, feeling like I'm rebelling, and I can't even follow the rules of the people who don't follow rules. So what you did, and what I notice who you are right now, you made your own community of inclusion. So you are a community builder. This is your job. You're paid to build community. And you do that naturally through this other job, which you invented because no other job was like ready for you. So you took this experience of like the rule following didn't work. And you were like, great, I'm going to make my own world where there's my own rules. It's called the Talent Management Agency. And I'm running it. I'm doing it. And then I'm going to build my own community where I can set my own culture, which is inclusive. And if you're kind and hardworking and passionate, you're in. And I'm going to be an entrepreneur the whole time. How does that line up with how you see your own story?
That is crazy. Like, you saying it out loud is like, like you don't know what you're doing, but I think like you summed it up well, because it's like, even, which is crazy because I'm saying I don't like the rules, but I feel like people who don't follow those rules, I reject them. So it's kind of like, now I'm the like kind of like quote unquote kind of like a rule maker, meaning like if you're not kind of like kind or sincere, or I feel like, you know, um honorable or like hardworking, passionate, like maybe that's not my community, right? So it's like, I understand. And maybe now kind of I'm kind of inclusive, but kind of being exclusive as well.
I think you have standards.
Right.
There's nothing bad with that.
Okay.
What I'm noticing is that like we keep saying rules, but in some cases what we mean is culture. Right? So there's like policies, procedures, and some fucked up shit out there about like
No,
things you must do.
definitely.
But what I'm also noticing is that there's culture. There's the assumptions of how we connect with each other and how we relate to each other and what we expect of each other that is not often spoken.
Right.
And some of those cultures didn't work for you. So you made your own. And culture exists when you don't need more than one person. I can have my own personal Kim culture in my little kitchen right here. The three of us would have a separate culture than if it was just me and Pancho. Kish and I have a different culture from the three of us.
Correct.
And so you are creating communities in which your Kish spice is the rules but it's just, this is how I want to live. Who wants to join me in this?
Correct.
This is
Oh,
who I
that
want
was
to
good.
relate to.
Well, y'all are good.
Awesome.
You guys are good. This
I have two questions. First is, how is quiche spiced sourced and manufactured?
I, I feel honestly like connecting with people like y'all and like learning and like being able to like when I first met Kim, she like read me right away. So I'm like, this is good. I'm like, and I really like people who like just to the question is like more so like people who challenge my assumptions about like how things are because I feel like we all have biasness and sometimes I don't even see my own biasness, right? So it's like I loved how you guys said in the beginning, like we were pre-recording, you're like, what made you feel so entitled? Like this is how it should work. And I'm like, that is true. Who says that my way is the way, right? And I'm like, that is true. Like that's like an entitlement in itself. But also like just like learning seriously like from people who've lived full lives and like right, they know like I just love people who can they're wrong, but they're like they can own up to it. Cause it's like you're human, right? And I've learned that like I thought like, once again from great people that you gotta be perfect. And it's like, no, you don't gotta be really like you're human. Like it's okay to like sweat. It's okay to be like sometimes you don't have it all together. It's okay. Like, you know what I mean? You just gotta bounce back and like make it work, right? And realizing that it's just all a process. And I feel like I want people to know that because I feel like I understand what it feels like to be in that position of feeling like you're trapped or like you can't go nowhere or people think you're a failure or people are judging you or like you're not welcomed or you're not good enough. So I don't want to ever extend that to someone, right? But at the same time, you got to be like kind of hard on people because at the same time, because it's like, where you could get to, don't fuck it up because then you'll live this life of misery that you don't want by living the life of comfort.
Mm. Yeah.
So it's like, instead, if you're from St. Martin, I understand it's more comfortable if you're coming to America to go find another St. Martin. That's good to have that connection. But maybe you need to find Gino on Fed Hill and connect and understand. No, seriously, their perspective, their culture, the better we learn from one another. And now you're kind of like, you're understanding different perspectives, different worlds. And I think that's really what helped me, like moving back from St. Martin and to the States. It was just two different worlds. And in St. Martin, it's like you have the Dutch side, you have the French side. And then I was like, American culture. So I'm like, these were all different worlds and different experiences that like grew me up and they shaped me with like different cultures. So I'm like, there's not one way to get to St. Martin. There's like multiple ways. So it's like, and that's like the same kind of philosophy I try to use in life.
Mm. I
Yeah.
like the
You
quiche.
had
I
another
like
one.
the quiche spice. The other question was, let's pretend the world was quote unquote fair and that we lived in a world where if you actually work hard and you do all the things you're supposed to do according to the rules, whatever that is, you get the result you're supposed to get. In my mind, well, at least from what you shared, you would have gone to college, you would have gotten your degree in hospitality, you would have moved back to St. Martin, you would have become a hotel manager, and you would have lived happily ever after in St. Martin as a hotel manager. Being able to pay your college loans off because in a fair world, you're actually able to pay your college loans off with the degree you come out of college with. Instead, you live in a world where things don't work that way. You don't have guaranteed outcomes, even if you do all the right things and follow the rules. And you've ended up where you are now. If you had to choose, which would you go with?
Definitely this.
Okay, say more.
Definitely this. Because like you said, I think if I did gotten everything I wanted, it would be like following the rule. It's following the rules. I feel like because I was so stuck on the rules in the beginning. It forced me to hate the rules, but then that like kind of made me say this doesn't work either. So I have to kind of understand how the rules are being played. And I think it helped out in the end. And the story's still being written. So I really like this. And the thing is, it's like I'm a true believer in where what you, if you like, you really kind of set it in your mind. It might not be the exact picture, but it all kind of formulates into something in that kind of lens.
So what's different between the person you became with the life you've lived and the person you would have become if you would have gotten all of the outcomes that you
Yeah.
deserved?
I think if I got all the outcomes I deserved, I think it would have made me, it definitely 100% would have made me more entitled. Thinking like this is just like what I deserve. Like this is based on me, nothing else happening. I feel like things not going my way forced me to realize like the real like reality of life, like how it really works. And it built so much grit, and it like it made me comfortable with like rejection, or comfortable with setting standards, or like building culture and community and how things should work. So it's like now understanding that, it's like now I feel as though like no matter what it is, I'm in like an ecosystem of something that I want. So it's never something like that I don't want. And like that's like that's another beautiful thing. Like you have the choice to create what you want, right? So it's like I'm living in that. Whereas if I was like doing the hotel, I'm in somebody else's ecosystem, still following rules. So it's like I don't feel like, not saying like, once again, not saying rules are bad, but I feel like we all have something to contribute. And I know that sounds so corny and everybody says that, but when you really think about it, we all have something to contribute. And like just this podcast, like this is like been a therapy session, and I don't do therapy. So this is like been beautiful to just been, to bounce ideas and thoughts back and forth. But like, this is like to me, now it's like a necessity in the world. This needs to be done with more people because you're really helping and seriously like shifting someone's whole perspective on how something should be, right? Or like, and like you helped me answer questions about myself by just asking questions and just navigating me through it. So it's like, would that had happened if I was on an island in a hotel? I would probably be checking someone's room right now,
Yeah.
or
So
something would be happening.
Kish, I want to offer that, like, if you had followed the rules, you would have gotten what you deserved, which is not what you wanted.
Correct.
It was
Wow, that's cool.
right? It's a lower ceiling. You
Man,
would have deserved
yeah.
a lower ceiling. And what you actually got was what you wanted. You just didn't know that you wanted.
You would have gotten the boring white picket fence.
That's real.
In the
Wow,
Caribbean, not for nothing.
yeah,
Okay.
that is like that, and that maybe that
It's
that
3
is
degrees here today, Pancho. It's really cold.
insane. So maybe that, like what you're saying, maybe it's I didn't know what I really wanted, probably wasn't
Yeah.
articulating it. So yeah, that's beautiful. That is beautiful.
Yeah, to live in that. Huh. Well,
I have one more addition to make, which is that Federal Hill in Providence is our little Italy and home to many cultural mementos of a very Rhode Island or Italian state. But it's also the subject of like one of the most bingeable podcasts called Crime Town, because it's also the like New England outpost of the mob,
Yeah.
famously. Like so much crime, so much crime in Providence, but like a fantastic podcast. It produced. Yes. I used to work on the site of the state prisons. Like we only have one prison system in Rhode Island. They're all in the same place, and all the Italian mobsters were just, you could just, from my office window, I was like, there's their house.
Dang.
Maximum security prison, right there it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kim, you got to tell me about that. That's crazy.
Well, it's all in the Pastori complex. All 7 women's, low, medium, high, maximum,
Mhm.
forensic, psych, Jerry psych. They're all in the same place. Just walk. It's like a campus of prisons.
yeah.
Anyway, Kish, what else is so? We started this podcast with the title of "How to Stay Sane in 26," which may not be what we title this, and it's not like wrong because what I'm picking up from this experience with you is that we started this podcast by saying, I've learned that the world isn't fair. It doesn't work the way I thought it was going to work. And there's heartbreak, there's loss, there's grief, there's anger, there's frustration, all right, never mind. Let's just move forward. Let's move forward. Let's move forward. And how, just given the conversation that we've had today, how are you going to stay sane in 2026, knowing what you know now that maybe you didn't know at the beginning of this podcast?
I think staying sane in 2026, it's like taking ownership and full responsibility that staying sane is my duty and not leaving that up to somebody else or like what's on the news or anything happening to like keep me sane. Staying grounded within myself and within the community and culture being built. I think that's like the way I plan to be sane, because right now it's very insane world going on
Yeah.
right now. But I think, just thinking of what you said, how you wrapped it around like building the community. I think if I could like give some advice or whatever, like to anyone, it's like finding the common thread with that we all have could help us like be sane. I know it's not like a perfect world or anything, but I think right now it's super duper like too wild. It's like it's getting like out of hand, and I feel like with media and everything, it makes it seem, and it not makes it seem, because I don't want to dull anything down that's going on, but it's very extreme, and I feel like we have way more in common with one another than we like that it's being portrayed, right?
Hmm. I
So
agree. Yeah.
I think that helps me stay sane, because now I'm here. So like I'm a St. Martin, very proud St. Martin, but like I'm an American now, so it's like that's beautiful. Like this is like the best country in the world. So it's like we can never forget that, you
Yeah.
know?
Owning your own experience, being responsible for it, letting other people be responsible for theirs.
Yeah,
Yeah. And like remembering the common humanity.
yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of self-compassion in that. That'll help you. Yeah.
It reminds me, this is one of those things that I can't unsee. And it's probably going to be the third episode in a row that I've brought it up. But it's because every time somebody says something like you just said, it comes to mind, which is the noise doesn't disturb you, you disturb the noise.
Mm,
Which is to say, when something noisy and disruptive happens, the noise is just noise. It's just one more thing that's happening in your surroundings. And it's your reaction to the noise that is actually the disturbance. So you're right. All of these things are happening in the world. We live in we're going through a time that feels really uncertain. There's a lot of change geopolitically, a lot of things that are causing people strife. I mean, I've had at least 3 calls today where people are like, I can't put up with what's happening, at the level of international politics right now. At the same time, that's the noise. And they are responsible and they get to own their reaction to the noise.
It's reminding me of just like radical acceptance of reality. You don't have to like it, but if you resist it, it gets worse. That like
Uh,
if there's resistance to like either wanting it to be a different way and like actively just ignoring that it is a certain way, or working working in a way that just the world doesn't work, continually finding yourself disappointed, like yet again, the rug pulled out from under me, yet again, the jerk one, rather than saying like, okay, this seems to be the way the world is working. I want to work in a different way. I'm going to make my own damn community that has my own culture. I'm going to start my own job. I'm going to talent manage people I want to talent manage because I enjoy them. I just want to offer that back to you, Kish, that you seem to have found a formula that works for you, and it's a work in progress. I know it. I mean, we're all works in progress, but being able to recognize and radically accept reality rather than resist it and just opt out of what isn't working for you is, yeah, a radical life-saving act that gets you what you want.
That is true.
Cool. There you go. Anything we haven't said that we should say?
Yeah. What's a question we should have asked you and we didn't ask you?
Who's my favorite rapper?
Let's hear
Who
it.
is it? Tell me.
Jay-Z.
I was just going to guess that.
Seriously?
I should have guessed it. I should have put that out there. Going on record.
I feel like he was like such a person to look to that understood moving in different rooms. Show you how to move in a room full of vultures. Industry shady, you need to be taken over. So a lot of my concepts like came from Jay-Z and like from where he started to where he is now. It's like transformation. Life is all about elevation. Can't stay stuck in one place.
I'm not a businessman.
I'm a
I'm a
business
businessman.
man.
I've quoted JC on this podcast before. It was it's from 444. It's from
God.
right that out. It was the quote about if you're only like basically like you're only rich for the people around you are rich.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. Over here we measure success. Come on, load. Over here we measure success by how many people are successful next to you. Here we say broke if everybody broke except for you.
Woo!
Isn't that good?
Come on.
Love
And
that quote.
that's community. That's building
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
Black
a good
Album
choice.
on repeat. 16-year-old Pancho
Classic.
Really?
all day long.
Nice.
Classic.
That is
Yeah,
that is a
he's
classic.
definitely one of the greatest for sure.
Pancho, did you grow up with like rap and hip hop around you?
A decent amount. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's part of the culture.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Jay-Z and Eminem were two of the big ones.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I grew up with Hot 97 as our radio station in Central Jersey, like New York area.
Gotcha.
So like
Pump
pop.
flex.
Pump. Yeah, Angie. Yeah, totally.
That's
But it's like I mean there was like Z100, there was the pop, top 40 pop stuff, which we all heard. But Hot 97 was like mainstream pop. Like that's what everybody at my all girls Catholic high school was listening to. We were just all bumping to Jay-Z. It was quite a scene. Thanks for bringing us this. Kish, what recommendations do you have for us music-wise? Which were you listening to?
Clear Soul.
Total. Oh my God. The same taste. She's so good. You said
She's so
Cleo Soul,
good.
right?
Yeah, Cleo Soul. Yep, that's my girl.
Okay.
I love her.
know the best? She is the singer for that secret band. I wish we weren't recording. I looked it up for real. But God, I always forget the name of the band. But Little Fires was one of their songs. So there's this secret band that released an immense amount of albums. They didn't tell anybody who was in the band, and British based, but she is the singer. Hold on, Cleo Soul.
Google says it might be called Salt. SAULT.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Do you know them?
No,
Kish?
No, I gotta go. I have to go listen to this.
and of course you got to listen to Euro. This is the artist that's signed to that I work with. He's signed to Lil Wayne. His name is Euro, EURO. We released a project, shameless plug, last year called Just For You, Just Because. Great
Just
album.
For You. Just because. Okay, it comes up. All right, cool. We'll plug these in the show notes.
And then what do you guys get? What sounds do you guys should I be listening to? And what podcasts should I be listening to?
Now that you see it. Yeah, what do you this one? No other podcast.
This is really the only podcast you should care about in your entire life.
I love it.
No. I'm a big fan of Chris Williamson, Modern Wisdom.
Okay.
I think a lot of what we bring to the table
I'm gonna write that
on
down.
this podcast. Like if this podcast were to blow up, we would have a lot in common with modern wisdom. In terms of music, man, I'm all over the place, but an artist that I've really enjoyed over the last year, it's electronica. I don't know if electronica is up your alley, but it's called Parra por Cuva. Extremely talented artist. Yeah.
Thank
I love that. Podcasts. So I love we we Ponch and I are both inspired by Joe Hudson and Art of Accomplishment. Like I get so much out of those episodes, so much. And then Being Well is another one, more of a mental health podcast, but it's a father son pair, and they're just excellent, excellent on like how to take care of yourself and live a good life, and just super clear, easy digestible episodes. Um, and I've got a bunch of like no, I don't have a bunch. I have one fitness podcast I listen to during every workout and I love, and it's a bro podcast.
you.
It's a bunch of bros talking about bro stuff, but I love it and it inspires me from a burnout lens. Like there's a lot in there that I'm like, oh, I can totally take that and like flip it around for burnout performance lens. And then my music,
Wait,
like
what's a bro workout podcast called? You didn't say what it's called.
Yeah.
oh, I didn't want to. I was too embarrassed. It's
Well, now we got to hear it.
called Mind Pump.
Nice.
It's sometimes I'm like, are they being ironic? I'm like, oh no, this is real. Wow, holy Mary, mother God. So Mind Pump, I really like it. I learn a lot about fitness from it, but I learn a lot about like overtraining has been the big thing. So like in burnout land, most people overtrain themselves work wise, but just keep doing more stuff and think it's gonna get better. But also there's just like literally a lot of overlap with high achieving individuals and people who do like a ton of cardio and a ton of just like punishing their body, like literally just punishing your body and being
They
like, I don't
overtrain.
know why I'm so overtrained. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tired and like no joy in life, and so just it happens to my clients a lot, and just people are just high strung. So they're trying to get their stress out by working out, but it makes it worse. So I learned a lot from that. Music wise, Pancho knows this, but Rosalia, my girl,
Oh, she's good.
right?
Rosalia is good.
Good.
She's good. She's good.
Good. So that's my big one. And then I'm just going through I make playlists based on time periods, and I made one for this apartment I'm in is round and it's on the ocean, so I called my playlist the soup can on the sea. So I mean I'm doing a lot of Bad Bunny lately.
Ooh. So you're excited about the Super Bowl?
I am very excited about the football, woohoo. But oh my God, the Bon Iver album that came out this year. I don't know if you guys listened to that. That's a good one. That is a good one. I'll send you guys my Soup Can on the Sea playlist. It's pretty good. But there's lots in there. I am also very all over the place, but those are my big ones for right now. Music recs.
In general, something that I'm noticing, I feel like the Brits just make better music than everybody else. Like all taken into account. I don't know if this is just my personal preference, but like deep British house, like Boiler Room British house, and then just like thinking about historically my favorite bands from different eras, like during rock and roll, what came out of the States and what came out of England. I feel like what came out of England was better. Like the US had some great stuff too, but just my personal preference. So, yeah, a lot of the stuff I'm listening to right now, when I step back and think about it, like Alt J, England, Swimming Paul, I think is actually from France, but has a lot of England crossover. Like a lot of his music is produced in conjunction with, like the British house scene. Jamie XX. Yeah. So like for whatever reason, a lot of my listening these days is out of the UK.
Very interesting. My UK person, I think she's UK. Do you know Georgia Smith?
Of course.
Oh, I love that you know Georgia. And then yeah, she's great. She's beautiful, rich voice, like soulful R&B singer. And then Do you know Jamila Woods? Not British, Chicago.
No.
Jamila Woods.
Yeah,
This friggin' woman broke my brain. She's a poet who is now also just this incredible singer, and just holy Mary, Mother God. She did me in. She's a good one. Okay, we'll get all these into
I was gonna say you just like
show notes in the
opened
sky.
Like a whole
the
playlist.
music nerd spigot.
This could be like an addendum. bonus podcast.
Totally. Yeah.
Kish, we could go talk about this for one thing.
For sure.
Keith,
All right, friends.
thank you.
You got any final questions for us? Give us another 20 minutes.
No more questions.
No, the answer can be no.
He learned his lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really don't have no more questions, but this
Good.
was amazing. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks for joining
Thanks,
us.
Kish. Yeah, thank you.